You're taking a live look at taikonauts aboard the Tiangong, aboard the SHENZHOU-13, getting ready to board the Tiangong space station. You can see there they have 4 hatches to go through. We believe they've been through at least 2 of them. They may be either at the 3rd or about to go through the 4th. But this is a shot of them working to get through the hatches to get to the Tiangong space station. Now, this crew consists of Commander Zhai, Zhigang, Wang Yaping, and Guangfu. They will be embarking on a 6-month mission, China's longest in orbit so far, making them the first Chinese to actually celebrate the Chinese New Year in space. Now, another first for this mission, Wang is the first female to fly to the space station, and she's been given a smaller spacesuit because she will also be the first Chinese woman to perform a spacewalk. You're taking a live look right now. That white room that you see there that takes up your screen, that is a live look at the space station. So we're taking a look at it. The taikonauts have not entered yet, but we are taking a view. So when they do come through, we would be able to see them. So again, that's the Tiangong space station right there, that room in white, the taikonauts on the other side waiting to come in. We want to bring in our guest, Professor James Head. He's from Brown University, and now, but I just want to get your thoughts as we enter the space here. We see in one picture the taikonauts going through or working to get those hatches open so they can enter the space station.
Yeah, this is really important. You have to depressurize parts of it and work your way through. So it's a very careful operation, and pressurize, depressurize, etc. You're transferring from one vehicle to another, and it's not just like opening the door and walking into another room at all. It's have to be very safe. But it's really great to see a woman taikonaut in this mission. Like I said, my student has been in the International Space Station. She's great, and she's also on the list for the Artemis astronauts. So NASA plans to have the first woman and the next man on the moon, and I think it's just great that we 50% of the population, how can you rule out having them involved? It's like crazy. So it's great to see a complete crew of men and women astronauts, and it'll help enhance the program to explore space internationally and all together. Thank you.
Yeah, we just, we're seeing these pictures as we speak here. We heard just a moments ago that the ground commander gave, I guess, the command to prepare to open the hatch. Mm-hmm. So we'll see that forthcoming here any second now. Let's quickly talk about the missions that there will be several missions, I guess, for them over the next 6 months. They'll be doing spacewalks, work with the station's robotic arms, and as I mentioned earlier, experiments involving physics and medicine. What is your favorite? What are you hoping to look for in the next 6 months from this crew?
Well, it's really great. One of the things about an international space station and a Chinese space station is that you have to be able to accommodate a lot of different modules. So two additional modules will be set up. They have to dock. You often use the arm to manipulate. You have resupply missions, like when we're in Antarctica in the field. Every once in a while, a helicopter will come in to drop food. And you have to learn how to do these things, and I think that's the exciting part. I really like to watch them accommodate to their environment, and to really learn how to live in space.
Professor Head, we're looking at live pictures now. It looks like these taikonauts have just opened the last hatch. We're just waiting. They opened a door here. We're waiting to see if that's the one that opens into the space station. So just stand by. Some exciting pictures right now. This Tiangong space station, we're taking a live look at the room. Oh, here we see someone coming through right now. If you look right there, the dead of your screen toward the top, you see someone dressed in blue entering this room. We're getting ready to enter this room for the very first time. So almost 2 hours ago, well, actually almost 3 hours ago, the SHENZHOU-13 docked, and it's taken this long to enter this space station.
One of the things you have to do is to shut down everything in the capsule that brings you up too. So there's kind of like house cleaning in that, as well as preparing to enter, and it's a complex operation.
Professor, we were talking about the first Chinese woman aboard the space station, and we understand that she will have several experiments that are geared specifically for women, including skincare. So some pretty interesting, fun stuff I will be interested in.
Yeah, I think that you know, again, it's not the same kind of environment that we have here on the Earth. You know how with seasons, winter, spring, etc., fall, the humidity changes, etc., and that same thing happens in space. It's not like you get seasons, but it's a very different environment, and your skin and you know, even breathing and, you know, the kinds of things you're breathing differ. So it's a very important experiment. You know, to be able to experiment for long-term missions like going to the moon for a few days and maybe onto Mars, it's really important to do this kind of research to make sure that you don't have difficulty, you know, a rash or something like that, which would really hamper the mission. For example, when we go out in Antarctica, we don't have a way to bathe for 3 months. And that's not that pleasant, but it works out. You figure out ways to handle that, to do dry wipes and things like that, and that's what they'll be working on to perfect as well.
Some really amazing pictures we're seeing here right in front of us as we're speaking. Again, if you're just joining us, breaking news, the taikonauts aboard the Shenzhou-13 are getting ready to enter, or they're entering here, the Tiangong space station. We see a ponytail. I think that is taikonaut Wang there, the first female taikonaut aboard a space station. She has been to space before, but this is the first time that she has been on the space station. And Professor, you were mentioning the amount of time. 6 months is a long time. I mean, the crew before, they were there for 3 months. So now we're talking double the amount of time they'll be spending holidays aboard this space station.
That's always fun too, because you know, they do communicate with their families, and sometimes I'll get emails and telephone calls from my colleagues. You know, I first worked in training the Apollo astronauts, and I've worked with all the astronauts in training ever since. So sometimes they'll call me from the International Space Station. They'll certainly get in touch with their families, and you know, we wish them well on different holidays. And it's you know, in the International Space Station, definitely celebrate holidays, Russian holidays, European holidays, American holidays. It's a great thing to do for you know, partnership on the International Space Station and with the different astronauts, and even down to the ground, of course.
You know, it's really cool. We're seeing these pictures, this video live as they're making their way through. It looks like right now they're opening a bunch of compartments, just opening, and it's almost like opening drawers and just moving things around, maybe
well,
unpacking.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what's going on. You have to, you know, they haven't been to this space station specifically before, so, you know, they have to familiarize themselves with, you know, where everything's stored. You can't get up in the morning and have a problem finding your socks, you know what I mean? You need to explore that and kind of get the lay of the land, like you would do when you check into a hotel or something, you know, figure out where everything is, and so you can live comfortably.
So 2 taikonauts aboard right now, the third making their way through the hatch. We're looking at 3 different shots here. The big one inside Tiangong Space Station. And then there's another in the bottom right corner, my right corner, and it looks like they're looking at some sort of control panel. And as you mentioned, Professor, they're getting acquainted with their surroundings, opening compartments, pulling out. This is certainly not, this is work. I mean, they're there on a mission. They're there to do work. It's exciting for us because, you know, this is great that they've made their way through. The third astronaut just floated up and into the space station. Looks like yeah, it looks like housekeeping.
It is. You know, sort of like putting down the rugs when you move into a new place or something like that. You know, you got to make it home, but there's a lot of technical details too, because you're not exactly down on the Earth. So yeah, it's a combination of hard work, checking systems, working with a ground control to make sure that they've got the same readings you do in there. I think probably for the controls, they're checking the temperature, the humidity, and things like that. And this will all be really important because these are the first steps to go to the moon. Of course, China has plans to send humans, taikonauts to the moon, and we're excited to, my dream is that we'll all be shaking hands on the moon at some point in the future. And I think that's really important because, space is a really big place, and there's something for everybody to do. We need all the help we can get as humans to understand the mysteries of the cosmos, where we came from, where we're going, and I think this is the way to go.
Every person that I've talked to that has worked with folks in space, with space in that realm, has said exactly the same thing. What you said, once everyone's out of the Earth, or when it comes to space, it's collaboration. Everyone gets along.
And, one thing is, too, that, my colleagues in the NASA astronaut corps, they have great time, form fundamental friendships with their Russian cosmonaut colleagues that go on, that are a lifetime. And, that's the best way to build, I think, international interactions that are in a peaceful way, and avoid the tensions, because we're all humans, we indeed are all humans. So we can learn how to work together and fly together in space and explore the unknown. That can only benefit humanity as a whole.
I want to get your thoughts on this one part of the larger mission of just constructing this massive space station that will take years. I mean, this is a long-term project, and I was mentioning to someone else that, it seems like these missions are just back to back to back. We saw Shenzhou-12 come and go, and now here we have Shenzhou-13 already up there and working. We know that 2 more will take place at the beginning of next year. Just your thoughts on how rapidly this has gone, and how China's space program has evolved in just a short amount of time, it seems.
I think that's the key. I think China has made great strides. They have a beautiful array of launch vehicles, the launch technology, CAST, and that those organizations have done a superb job. The Long March 5 and all these other vehicles that are launching the taikonauts, they're really great. They're very high performance. They're very reliable. Occasionally there's a problem, but there always is. But I think that China has come a long way in a very short period of time. For example, landing for the first time on Mars, is not easy, okay? That's not easy to do. The first sample returned in over 40 years from the moon. And these samples, we published a paper in Science, okay, our Chinese colleagues, and they were kind enough to ask us to help them, to participate in the analysis. It was a very joint effort, led by them. All the measurements were made in China, but it's just great to see this kind of international cooperation into exploring the unknown.
And if you're just joining us, this has been breaking news all evening long for the last several hours. The taikonauts aboard the Shenzhou-13 are now inside the Tiangong space station. They entered just within the last 10-15 minutes or so. They docked about 3 hours ago, but now have made their way inside the space station. So you're taking a live look at pictures there as they're going through their compartments. They're, going through, unbuckling or opening these compartments. Looks like they're getting acquainted with the different parts of the space station. So this is just the beginning of a 6-month mission as they do many, many experiments, both inside and then outside as they go and work and do spacewalks. Professor Head, I just want to get your thoughts. And again, I know that you can't see exactly what I'm seeing now, but they're all 3 together. It's more than just, I know they'll go through and pack everything they brought with them, but right now it just looks like they're sort of getting their bearings and talking about what's around, what to do next.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what's going on. You briefed, you've practiced these things, and I think comparing notes and going over assignments, checklists and things like that, and just making sure, literally, that the space station is ship-shape, as they say. That is to say that it's ready to go in good shape.
Because they have as part of their mission, they have certain things that they need to do to get the space station ready for the next crew.
That's true. I think that's, you can believe that when the last 3 taikonauts left after their 3-month stay, you know, they prepared things. They didn't just, you know, leave the laundry on the floor. You know, I mean, they really prepared things, and so, you know, that's what the welcome was left from the last 3 taikonauts for this crew. And again, the long-term stay is really important. The record is 437 days in space by a Russian cosmonaut, Valery Polyakov, and so, you know, that's a long, long time. So, you know, you really get to understand what the effects are, and this is important for going to the moon and setting up a lunar base and going on to Mars, to really learn how humans can adapt and what the problems are and how we overcome those.
Do you think we'll see missions last a year long? Will that be normal, or just does it depend on what the goal is for that mission?
I think it depends on what the goal is, but clearly, you know, one wants to understand the effects on the body, and all the kind of long-term research, like a year or more, is really important. It's really important data to help us understand how we alleviate any problems and take advantage of any you know, benefits.
We're taking a look at these taikonauts here. They're pausing for a moment. It looks like they're standing all next to each other. and
it's the group photo.
I think it's the group photo. You might be able to hear a little bit of the audio. I'm going to let them speak.
感谢大家对神舟13寸组的支持和关爱，我们一定不负厚望，请党和人民放心。
北京明白，祝贺你们成功完成首次镜像交会对接，顺利进入空间站组合体，你们辛苦了，预祝在轨半年工作一切顺利。
So we're just seeing the crew of the SHENZHOU-13 greet mission control. Looks like they're saying everything's okay. They're waving, standing next to each other. After they entered the space station, they did a couple of housekeeping items looking around, but what you just saw was the crew sort of addressing the camera for the first time and just saying, hey, we're here, we're okay, and express their gratitude to mission control. We heard mission control respond back. Heard a lot of clapping, so very happy that everyone seems to be doing just fine.
Excellent.
Yeah, I don't know if you were able to hear just a little bit of that, some of the applause and the smiles on their faces, that they are there and they're ready to go.